Joined by J.J. Joe, former Baylor quarterback and color analyst for Baylor Radio on 365 Sports. And J.J., the role continues. The change in this team, the personality of this team, and what they're doing. Did you ever think this right here with what you've seen was possible a month ago?
I would say 100% no, Smoke. My first, I remember having a conversation on the plane to Ames. I said, we got to have this one, or a lot of stuff feels like a lot of stuff will change quickly on us. And then I remember flying back, and I'm like, shoot, I'm not looking forward to the next couple of weeks. So I coming out of the bye, I was shocked, and they finally gotten it, Smoke. And I think all of us as Baylor fans are just elated that this team has finally started to put together, just kind of the finer points and started closing games. And it's much more fun on this side of it, man. I tell you.
JJ, the coaching staff never lost the locker room. And when you've gone through not just one rough year, but two rough years in a row, sometimes you can lose the locker room even though you're trying, even though the locker room wants to stay with you, right? They want to, they just can't give any more and they don't know. What do you think was the key to them not losing it?
Yeah, I think that's a testament to Coach Aranda. I think these players really genuinely care for Aranda, and I think they know he's a good coach. Coach Aranda is a good coach, and a lot of good coaches have been fired, so I'm not going to trip on that. But he's a really good coach. I think he is very straightforward. He doesn't, he's not sending chasers out there. He's just shooting you straight, no chasers. So I think they like that or respect that. They respect him. They really would. They've always played hard. We've never questioned this team's ability. This team playing hard. It was just that we weren't closing the deal. And I think last year we kind of lacked some players. And they got players this year. They just took them a little longer to put it together than we thought it would. So it's hard to hold that locker room, man. But that's a testament to the coaches. It's a testament to the quality of the guys, man. I'll tell you that they recruit like the Matt Joneses, guys who've been there for a long time, and the guys they brought in. So it's been big.
JJ, there's so many different directions to go. So I'll just ask you an open-ended. What impressed you the most about Saturday?
It's just amazing during the season to see the confidence of a team. And we've seen it here before where a team finally gets that little swag, we want to call it, where they just feel like, hey, no matter what happens, we're going to get it. And this team was close, but you could tell early in the season they just weren't sure who was going to do it. Then Sawyer came in, was playing well, and we tried to say, Sawyer, well, you do it. And then I think what we figured out real soon is that you can't bet on potential and NIL and all that. You just got to go. At the end of the day, what I love about football, man, is it's all about a meritocracy, my friend. Either you perform or you sit. And I'm telling you, there's a couple guys out there, nothing negative, that just kind of weren't making it happen. And there's a couple guys that at the end of the day, either you love the lights and you just do anything to be in the lights, or something else is motivating. And I think they found the guys who wanted to be out there with the lights and getting their number called and all that. And they found those guys, and it's working.
As a quarterback who threw to receivers, there are some that can make the 50-50 play, can go grab it, fight for it. And there are some that, that have to be kind of open to make a play. Josh Cameron has turned into all of the above, 50-50 balls, yards after catch or contact. He has become a fantastic wide receiver, and it looks like everybody's joining at least what he's done.
Yeah, I think Josh has been a leader all season, though. We've seen the Josh build from the time he was a walk-on, and we're like, he's a nice body. Who is this kid? And then he made a few plays. And this year, I'll tell you, man, whatever you do in the dark comes to the light. That's bad and good. And I could tell Josh has put in some work. Josh has done some stuff over the last 4 or 5 years that people may not have been seeing, but we're seeing it on Saturdays, and he's just great, man. He's the lead dog on the receiver side. He's the consistent one. He's the one that we know will be there. He's the one that defenses pay attention to. And he's a dual threat because he does it on the edge. He does it in special teams. And I think his energy and effort is infectious. And those guys have come along with him, man. They all are doing their part. What I love about this group, guys, is that Josh is he's the guy for the most part. Hal is he's the 50-50 guy that is going to make the splash. Monterey is now the speed guy. He's the speed guy he should have been. They use him like that. Ashton is the is kind of like the guy that will work the middle, do certain things. And I think they figured out how to use these guys, and it's a beauty to behold, I'll tell you.
JJ, how much more do players, I don't know, respect a guy who's a former walk-on or listen to them? Or it's hard when a guy like Josh Cameron, is outworking you at every turn to not follow in his footsteps?
Hey, man, I'll tell you, people respect. Football players, what I love about football is in the locker room. Dude, if you're playing, man, dudes do not care. Mm-hmm. They don't care if you're orange. They don't care if you walked on from 1A high school or 7-man football. If you are playing and you can play, they want you to play. And they respect that. And they really respect a guy like Josh, he's got it out the mud, my friend. And that's special to see. And I'll tell you, and when you see a guy like that, you can't be out there complaining. Half y'all on scholarship. This dude didn't even start on scholarship. He put the grind in and he took everything he wanted. And so I respect him, man. And guys who can get out of the mud like that, man, it's wonderful to just to see their journey. And I don't think his is over by any means.
So, JJ, that second quarter got a little squirrely for both sides. It's just crazy to see both teams score 21 apiece, and then the very next quarter they both get shut out. It's wild how that worked out. Yeah. But what did you walk away with in terms of thoughts about the defense? Because there was all of that chaos early, but then they kind of kept it steady in the second half until the offense got scoring again. And then there was that late touchdown that obviously, was like you'd rather not have had that happen. Yeah, so what did you walk away thinking about that side of the ball?
Yeah, just like I think like any of us, we're an offensive football team. And that's not saying anything negative against the guys on defense or anything like that. Is that right now a lot of the resources and a lot of the humming is on the offensive side, and defensively, we just need them to do enough, right, to keep us in the game. I don't think by any means are we asking them to be dominant. We've seen flashes from these guys. We've seen them up front play well. I to be honest with you, I like our front. I like our front and our linebackers. I think they play solid. I really don't. I'm not concerned about teams just running the ball on us and running over us. I think we do a decent job. And, man, in a year, we just cannot play the ball in the air. And I've heard Coach Aranda say it. We don't play zone particularly great. We can't play man. And we got a lot of work to do on the back end. But like he says, man, sometimes you have ugly baby. You still love the baby. And just roll with it. I thought that was hilarious.
We've heard him a couple of different times, like even after the game on Saturday when someone asked him about how he was able to get through the tough times. And I think he said something like, I cussed a lot and I tried to keep from hitting things. And then he also said he was pissed off when they gave up the late touchdown, which he's also said, I think, in a game before this one.
Yep.
He's got a little bit more of that in his neck than I think some people realize based on what they see.
He does, man. You can't get it twisted. All people we're very different, as you know. So I'm preaching to the choir here. And the way we express ourselves is different. Aranda, although he doesn't show it, is as competitive as any coach we've had here. But he just shows it different. He says it different. And we've seen glimpses of it. We're starting to see it this year with him really becoming a little bit more fiery. But, that dude, man, he doesn't want to give up any points. He wants to dominate. He wants to he's not going to run the score up on you. That's one thing about Aranda that I do like. He's not going to put your face in it and beat you by 7 touchdowns. But be honest with you, he wants to shut you out. He wants to beat you 35-0. So, but he has that competitive edge by like anybody else would at that position.
JJ, they now have a chance to not just get to a bowl game. They have a bigger fish to fry. Houston, whose defense is very, very good, although they just dropped a game. They've been kind of up and down, but a lot of teams in the Big 12 have. Yeah. And then, of course, here comes Kansas with what they did to BYU and what they've done the last couple of weeks. But to sit there and look at the possibility that they could get to 7, 8, or 9 wins is not the same teams, not the same scenario, but could this eventually remind you a little bit of 2012?
Yeah, Smoke. I said that on the air that like just the feel of it. That team had a signature win. That team had beat a number 1 Kansas, a number 2 Kansas team on a Thursday night or Saturday night, something like that. that I think, and that team was building. 'Cause I remember the week before we beat Kansas State that year, we lost to Oklahoma in a close game. But I felt we should have beat Oklahoma. And Oklahoma was ranked top 15 or something. And I was like, dude, we should have beat Oklahoma. And then that next week, we just crushed Kansas State. So I feel like this team, though, I just feel like, we can lose either of these last two games because Kansas is playing like we expected Kansas to play at the beginning of the year. Houston can beat us because they play defense well, but I don't expect us to lose either of these games.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you always when you can come on the show with us. Thank you for your time. Have a great week.
Thanks, my man.
JJ Joe, Baylor Radio Color Analyst, and also Baylor quarterback in the day on many things of what Baylor is doing now to put themselves in this position.